It's time now for our stock of the hour. A closer look at Morgan Stanley. The shares at one point sinking about 7% on the day in just a span of about 40 minutes. This on the back of some headlines out of the Wall Street Journal about a probe into the company's wealth management business. Shanali Basak joining us right now with some more details here. What exactly did the Journal report, Shanali?
There are a few things. There are multiple regulatory bodies taking a look into this. According to the Journal, the SEC, the OCC, and divisions of the Treasury Department are all taking a look at Morgan Stanley's wealth manager and the vetting of certain clients. So this goes to the idea that the SEC has sent letters, according to the Journal, that has listed certain clients and asking about the background of those clients with potential ties to very sensitive businesses, for example, in Russia, or even, for example, an individual who claims that she was based in the U.S. but had potentially been sanctioned by the U.K. So the background of U.S.-based clients, as we know, Morgan Stanley is a U.S.-based asset manager and wealth manager, but unlike a lot of the other rivals that they have in wealth management, their business is U.S. wealth management primarily. And so their clients in the U.S. with potentially behaviors abroad that had led to certain legal violations.
So this is a really ignorant question. How big a deal is this?
Well, it depends on how far this goes, right? If they were to face significant enforcement actions, and again, that we don't know how far along these regulators are in this process, but if they were to face enforcement actions, how deep does that go? How costly could that be? It's interesting because a wealth manager, remember, there are a lot of questions about it in particular when it pertains to growth, and it's not just the potential of any potential fines that could come with legal actions, but any potential reputational damage that could come with any wealth management issues.
And we have to put this in context too, and we should just point out too, we have reached out to Morgan Stanley for comment, and so far they have not actually given us a statement yet. So there's still a lot that we have to sort of figure out what's going on. But also we should point out, they got an earnings date coming up next week. They got a new CEO who just took over. What is the messaging going to be around this without necessarily knowing, Shanali, what the messaging is going to be around this?
Well, that's the big question. How are they going to address any potential issues? And are they going to address these particular probes head on, or will they?
But don't they have to? Because when I first saw the headline, what jumped out at me wasn't Morgan Stanley. It was Morgan Stanley Wealth Management. This was the crown jewel for this company for years. This was James Gorman's baby.
Exactly. And remember, they really had a lot of doubts at the beginning, but then came out swinging and commanding a premium valuation across all of Wall Street because of this wealth manager. Now, with James Gorman stepping down, really, this is the second quarter that Ted Pick is stepping into. The first full quarter of him as CEO, he didn't come from the wealth business. He came from investment banking and trading. And so the question is, what does the wealth management look like under him? Because he didn't come from there. So Morgan Stanley stock, even before this probe was reported about, was down about 2% or so this year. Now it's down almost 7% on the heels of this probe.